This is the Intelligent Human Voice podcast and network. I'm your host, the PatMan, from the Bay to LA and beyond. I'm gonna lay this tune on you that I created a while back. It's called Cannabis Jazz. Let that funk you into your awesome Saturday afternoon. Hey, the sun is shining. I'm good. This is the Intelligent Human Voice podcast network. I'm your host, the PatMan, from the Bay to LA and beyond. It's 11/11, baby. 11/11/3/9/2019. Somebody better go out and play the lottery right now. You better go play the lottery. I think your numbers is calling you. I don't really play the lottery. I really don't. I don't get into it. Maybe I should. I got relatives who play and they actually win. Ain't that something? They actually win. I didn't think people won, but yeah, people actually do win. I can tell you this much. If I won, you'd be the first to know about it because I'd be somewhere in Tulum, Mexico with a hat on, in the water, chilling, hanging out with the locals. I'm not kidding you. I'm going back to Tulum. Wrote a song about it too. I'll let you hear it one day soon. This is the Intelligent Human Voice podcast network. I'm your host, the PatMan, chilling, rocking and rolling, feeling good on a Saturday morning. Had a good night's rest. Sort of. You know what's a good night's rest? A good night's rest is when you wake up and you're still alive. How about that? You wake up and you go, oh, I'm still alive. That's a good thing. Let me start off the show with a awesome quote from a book that is falling apart at the seams. That's when you know you got a great book. I originally bought this book for my brother, and I go over to my mom's house, and I'm like, dude, this guy didn't even pick up the book. This is an awesome book. And I was like, well, maybe that book was for me. So I grabbed the book, and it's been with me ever since. It's about 22, maybe 25 years old, by a guy who passed away, I think maybe recently, Dr. Miles Monroe. It's called Understanding Your Potential. And he got chapter after chapter. So what I would do, I would just, with books like this, I just open it up and whatever speaks to me, that's where I go with it. So this morning I, pulled it out and I was like, yeah, what is the doc trying to say to me today? Chapter 6, Why Were You Born? I thought that was just perfect. Why were you born? There's a quote from Eleanor Roosevelt. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. I'm going to say that one more time. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. There's another blurb below I got to read. If you feel good about yourself, you will feel good about other people. I can resonate with that. I can definitely resonate with that. I hope you can resonate with that. I actually recommend this book, highly recommend it. I'm endorsing it for free. That's what I can do for you. If you have your own book, radio show, service, whatever, hit me up. If it's awesome, I'll read it. If it's a great service, I'll participate in it and launch it. And that's free advertising. Not free, but free for now. I mean, people download the podcast all the time. Do the math. That's what's up. Understanding Your Potential by Dr. Miles Monroe is he was a international teacher, speaker, lecturer, evangelist, and advisor. It's from the Destiny Image Publishing Company, and I think it's off the hook. On the front, there's a tree that's planted. It's showing like the tree itself, then it's showing the roots, and then it's showing where the seed at the bottom in the soil, where it just kind of, it shows how the tree is growing. So that's who we are. Understanding Your Potential by Dr. Miles Monroe. What a great way to start off the show with a quote like that. And I hope you enjoy that song, Cannabis. I call it Cannabis Jazz. It's a tune I created over 3 years ago, around 3 years ago. That's kind of where things just start to shift for me in the universe. This show is dedicated to all the people in the world who are suffering from something, suffering from some kind of depression, anxiety, mind nonsense. It's not nonsense, but mind stuff, because I held on to it and it latched onto me for, all my life. I can laugh about it now. I can actually chuckle about it because it's true. I feel like I've been depressed since I came into the womb. Now that's deep. That is really, really deep. However, it's my truth, and that's how I felt. Do I feel like that anymore? Hail to the no. Hail to the no. No. Speaking of singing, got to give a shout out to my homegirl, Desi and Ricky with Parlor Social. I couldn't get out last night. They were performing at Riviera 31. If you ever get a chance to see them perform, it is an awesome show. You've never heard anything like it before in your life. I don't think you have. Desi has an awesome voice. Ricky is on the piano, backup singing, and there's a couple rappers, and there's a full band. I first got turned on to them at the Edison in downtown LA, and I was blown away by the performance. I hadn't been out in a while seeing live music, and that was a great intro to hearing something fresh, new, and hip. That's right. Also want to give a shout out to my good friend Sharice Bromberg for chiming in. Looking forward to catching up with your sister on the phone. Voice, it's not like talking to people in person. I think there used to be remember Pac Bell had this this commercial, reach out and touch someone. They encourage people to pick up the phone and call somebody. I think you should do that today. Pick up the phone and call somebody you haven't talked to in a while. It's not the same thing. It's not texting. You can't hear a person's voice over text. You can't do that. So I encourage you today to help relieve some of the depression and anxiety and stuff that you have going on in your world. Just pick up the phone, and it doesn't have to be quick. You start off and say, hey, I'm just reaching out, just checking in on you, saying how you doing. We haven't talked in a while. We ain't got to go into a 2-hour conversation about this, but you was on my mind, and I thought I'd just say how you doing. Or actually, I don't want to know how you're doing. I just want to say hallelujah. Hallelujah, because you're alive. You answered the phone. You picked up. You saw it was me, and I just want to say how you doing, and let's connect sometime next week, or let's do brunch tomorrow. That's how you do it. I just gave you the dialogue to call someone that you haven't talked to in a while, and make sure if it was bad energy at some point, that's the past. That's the past. You can start off with the conversation with that. Say, look, that was the past. I'm just calling to say how you doing. And hallelujah, because life is good and I can see the sun shining, so it's got to be good, right? I'm serious about the sun shining. The sun is shining, and I love it because we haven't seen the sun shine in Southern California in a while, and that's a problem. That is a problem. Is that not a problem? Y'all know that's a problem. I'm from Northern California. I grew up in Northern California, so it rained all the time. Actually, yeah, it rained all the time. It actually rained, or we saw all the seasons. All the seasons were there: spring, summer, fall, and winter. So when it rained, it poured. It literally poured. And I just remember just being really. I know when prior to moving to LA, the thought I had one day, I was working for the state at the time, and in a legal assistant position, and the thought just occurred to me. I'm looking outside the window, and I see the rain just hitting the window, and I'm just like, I think I'm tired of this. I think I'm done. I think there's another adventure calling for me somewhere else. No sooner, kid you not, no sooner than I'm saying this and I'm putting that energy out there, what we would receive was these emails, these internal emails about job transfers and job openings throughout California. And sure enough, the same position popped up in Southern California, and I was like, oh, I'm moving to Southern California. I'm getting the HELL hockey stick, the funk out of here, and I'm going to Southern California. And I don't have to worry about like jumping around looking for a job. Nobody moves to LA without a job. So I had a job, and I had a secure job working for the state. So there was a perfect plan. However, the first gig, the legal assistant position was in a town. I thought it was, what did I know about LA? I hadn't looked at the map, and, then Google Earth wasn't a thing. You only had Thomas Guide, and I had a few boys out here that lived out here. So the position was, if I could recall, I want to say it was either in San Diego or San Bernardino. Now, here's the thing, and this is all part of my origin reset story and stuff, so I'm just flowing. I drove down to LA for the I don't think it was an interview. I was just responding, and I was like, I need to get to LA anyway, just for a couple of visits. And I met up with this lady that was working in the office. The office was actually vacant. Nobody was there. I think everyone had gone to lunch or something. And I'm talking to this lady, and she's like, "Oh, let me ask you this. So why you want to work here in this office?" I said, "Well, to be truthful with you, I don't need to work in this particular office, but the email came up, and legal assistant was on the radar for Southern California. So I was like, you know what, I can do this. I can work in Southern California and San Bernardino." She's like, "Well, baby, let me San Bernardino is in the middle, and I might be wrong with the city, but I'm pretty sure I think it was San Bernardino." She said, "Baby, this office is kind of in the middle of nowhere. There's two freeways in between two freeways, and baby, if traffic, if there's an accident or anything on the road, you gonna be stuck. And there's not a whole lot going on out here. I think I'm looking at you, and I'm thinking, you'd probably be better off in LA, like Glendale. There's a Glendale office, and I think that was the only one she mentioned. There's a Glendale office. I think there was a San Diego office. That meant going further down Southern California." And I was like, "Well, shoot, I really appreciate that. I sincerely appreciate your honesty in telling me that, because I don't want to be stuck on no freeways trying to get here in the middle of San Bernardino," in which I knew nothing about San Bernardino. But she gave me that blurb. I got back to I was working in the Walnut Creek office, and I got back, and folks like, I actually didn't tell anybody. And then I looked on board, and there was a position that just popped up for Glendale. Not kidding you. The Glendale office was hiring, and so I called them, and ironically, this is how God works. One of the supervisors was actually in Northern California for a meeting or a conference or something, and we met up. She came through. I talked about it. She asked, why I want to leave the Walnut Creek office. I was like, "Love these people. They're cool. Really small crew. There's about 5 attorneys and 5 assistants." I said, "Really awesome crew." I said, "But I think it's time for a little change. I need to explore Southern California. I need to get away." And she's like, "Awesome. I think you'll be a great addition to our Glendale office. It's some awesome people. We have several floors that we occupy, and come on down. We'd love to have you." So she signed off on that, and next thing you know, I'm like telling my boys and fam and everybody, I'm like, "Look, y'all want to throw the going away party, because I'm getting the hell out of here. I'm gone. And I did have a little going away party. A few folks came out. My boy Rick Bradford came out. Boy Rick, that's my boy from way back when, kindergarten. When you friends with people you've been friends with since kindergarten, that's special. That's really, really special. My boy Delancey and Ricky. We're all in kindergarten together. Rick came out. My homegirl Tamika came out. A few people came out. We took pictures. I got pictures for the going away. And so peep this. I'm gonna talk more about this because and then I got a song I want to play for you that I created with my boy Zach. Also 3 years ago. I'm gonna play that, but I'm gonna tell you more about the transition to the Glendale office. So, pack my car up. I didn't bring everything. Most of my stuff was in storage, still in storage. I moved out of my place after the whole .com and .com fizzle. Again, that's a whole nother podcast, my .com life. So I put everything in storage, and I had a few items, and I was staying with buddies of mine. And I was like, "Fellas, I'm leaving in they were like, I still can't believe you're leaving. This is wild. Because I was getting some partying on. Like me and my boy, we we were just partying. And if anyone knows me, it's not like I'm a party alcoholic kind of guy, just out there, women, this, that, and the other. My thing about partying was me dancing. That was my therapy. I wasn't crazy about the gym. We tried the gym, working out and stuff like that. Loved the bicycle. At the time, I don't think I had a bike. I think I had sold my bike, or my bike got stolen. So that was my form of exercise. It's like getting out. I would burn through whatever drink I had. I would burn through that within an hour, sweating and dancing to get my groove on. That was my therapy, yo. And to attribute to that, I did get a lot of numbers, from women. And the thing about it, though, I didn't call them. I didn't call them. Why didn't I call them? I wasn't there for that. Bottom line, honesty, I just wasn't there to meet women. It was fun dancing and having a good time, and ask any of my boys today, like, yo, Pat is not a closer. This guy would not close the deal. I could meet him. We dance, we party, maybe buy a drink, have a drink, chill. But 9 times out of 10, I might get the number. I might ask for the number. I hardly ever ask for the number, to tell the truth. I was given the number, and I never called. Half of the time, I never called. Maybe once or twice, maybe 3 times I may have called, meeting someone out based on peer pressure from one of my boys. Like, yo, you better get her number, yo. Y'all dance like 3-4 songs, and you didn't get her number. I mean, you better get her number. I was like, And here's the thing. Here's the thing about going out like that. I felt like, and I can talk about this now. I felt like I was definitely another person when I was going out like that. Because you think about it, you have a couple in environments that's just intermingling. You have the alcohol, you have the club vibe itself, you have the music, you have people. It's not like they got their work clothes on. People go all out to dress, and for me, I love fashion, so I have the hippest fits in America. Soul Train started that. We're gonna blame Soul Train on our partying, because Soul Train's been around since I've been alive. So, I like to dance, though. I really love to dance, and that was my energy. That's how I released. I was in relationships that the women didn't understand. Why you got to go out? Well, why you got to go out? I was like, because I got to go out. You can come out with me if you want. Nah, I can't. I ain't. All right, well, I'm going out. I got to dance. I got ants in my pants, and I need to dance. True story. I got ants in my pants and need to dance. Ants in my pants and need to dance. Ants in my pants and I need to dance. I had to let that out. Hope you guys don't mind that. Who's out there listening? Nobody in the chat session? Nobody in the chat? No, ain't nobody in the chat. Everybody's out probably getting some sun. They're like, yo, I'll listen to you later, man. I'll listen to you later. Anyway, so look, I'm in LA. I get to LA. I get to the Glendale office. Oh no, I got to tell this. I got to share this story right here. So I pack up my car, my clothes, a few items here and there. And the thing, a buddy of mine, we were supposed to, be roommates, and we were going to be roommates. He was supposed to have been looking for a place. Turns out, it didn't work out. Let's just say, for the sake of everything, it didn't work out. I end up crashing on my boy's couch, and I called my homegirls. Called my homegirls. My homegirls called me, actually. They were like, yo, P, what's going on? Everything good in LA? You in LA? You got the job? Blah, blah, blah. How is it? And I was like, they're like, what? I was like, yeah, things didn't really work out. I'm sleeping on my boy's couch. And, the job is cool. They're a little weird. People a little weird. They all go to lunch at the same time, like cattles, and they all take their breaks at the same time. I'm just not used to that. I'm just used to a little more freedom in my life with jobs and career positions. But, whatever. I'll work through this. And they didn't have internet. That was driving me crazy. So my homegirl was like, yo, call up, my one homegirl was like, yo, call my boyfriend, call him, because I was cool with him, but I was cool with him. So she's like, call him. He's got a 2-bedroom, and you just call him up. Tell him what's up. It's all good. I call him. He's like, yo, man, I'm staying out here in Northridge. I got 2-bedroom. My kid is like, is here every other weekend. He's like, but you can have her room. She sleep with me. We split the rent. Done deal. It's like, done. Love how it all worked out. Totally worked out. During this time, my, working for the state, it was awesome. It was good. But these folks this was me experiencing Southern California for the first time, working around people, being around folks. It seems like we were partying in Pasadena all the time. One of my boys, he loved Pasadena. That's where he's from. And we were always partying in Pasadena. We partied a couple times in Hollywood. Excuse me. But things started to change at the actual job. I started to see it was a total difference. And around the time, I reached out to my auntie, who was basically at the time was like my second mom. And she worked for the state as well. She had been working for the state for like 40 something years. They've named a section of the building after her. She passed away suddenly. I got a call and saying that she passed, and I just, it was just, it just hit me like a brick wall. On top of feeling a little homesick, from moving from, the Bay Area and all my friends there and family and stuff. And I was trying to get away from family, tell the truth. I'm telling the truth. There was a lot of stuff going on, but then my auntie passing was just like, yo, this is way too much. Yep. Went through some things with the job. Heard they were shutting down the office. So I was like, I think it's time for me to get back into facility management. That's what I know. That's what I do. That's who I am. And started looking into that. But before that reset of getting back into facility management, I went through a few months of depression, doctors trying to give me every medication known to man, to saying that, I had an imbalance. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And the doc was like, yo, I actually turned myself in. I went into emergency, and I was like, yo, and doc was like, he was like, so what can we do for you today, Mr. Anderson? I'm like, I don't know, man. I said, I just been feeling, not good at all. And I said, it's twofold. I said, I haven't been feeling good, for a very, very long time. But then my auntie passed, and I'm in a different town, and I don't have my friends around me, and it's just, I feel like the my world is just crashing down on me, man. I need to talk to somebody, something. He's like, well, have you ever, talked to a psychologist or, therapy sessions? I said, no, but, whatever you recommend, man, I'm open for it. So he's like, all right, I'm going to turn you on to, I'm going to set you up for about, I think it was like 8 weeks or something for a psychologist or a psychiatrist to talk one-on-one. And then he was, once I talked to this guy, they were setting me up with this confidential group where we would, and this was all tied in with Kaiser. I still had Kaiser as my medical provider. And I remember, just talking to this guy, and I was feeling 100 like right away. And I don't know if it was the meds, but I know the meds just threw me off. This is the first time I'd ever taken prescription medication. Up until that point, I was totally into the holistic practice and Eastern medicine, and hadn't gotten into yoga or meditation. Meditations. I don't know why that word is messing with me. Like, I feel like I'm saying it wrong. I did that on the last podcast. Hadn't gotten into that. But the class itself, awesome. But here's the thing. Here's the thing about this circle, the circle of people who were just confessing. And it was all confidential, but there was one guy in there, and he was like, I'm depressed and I don't even know why. He's like, I got a great wife and I got, great family. I just have no idea. And this one lady, she had been working on a job for like 20-something years, and everybody had some, she didn't know why she was depressed, and everyone had a different story about why they were depressed. And when it got around to me, I was like, I don't know, my job is nuts. These people are crazy. They wasting taxpayers' money. Take all day just to do one thing, and my auntie just passed, and I've been dealing with some childhood depression issue. I don't know. I said, I don't know. And but as I started to listen to other people's problems, I started to understand that the problem that I had. I mean, one dude was there because he was going through he'd gotten cancer, and he was trying to figure out how to deal with that, how to burn through that. That's a drop in the bucket right there. And I'm sitting here listening to these people's problems and issues, and I'm like, what could I have done about, my auntie passing? What could I have done about this? What could I have done about that? And the answer was like, nothing. You couldn't have done anything. On that note, I started to feel 100% better. I stopped taking the meds because, like I said, it just was throwing me off. It was throwing me off. I hated the meds. Started to, here it is. Started to tune in and into these meditations. Why does that word sound weird to me? And at the time, there was this guy, Eckhart Tolle. Had never heard this guy before. And Oprah. Eckhart Tolle and Oprah was doing this online book. It had never been done before. It was like online webinar. Now, this was like mid 2004, 2003, 2004, 2005. Oprah was talking about locking down the web. It never been done before. She was going to talk about this book that Eckhart Tolle was going to break down. I believe it's called The Power of Now, or I know I got the title off. That was like one of his recent books. But I started listening to this. I started listening to, I think at the time, and I'm jumping around what happened. I started listening, started absorbing, started changing my energy, started surrendering. The word surrendering kept popping into my head. And things got better. Things started to get better. Law of attraction popped in. I'll never forget it. My homegirl had moved down from the Bay. She just graduated from Cal. And we became roommates, and she busts through the door with this DVD. It's like, yo, you gotta check this out. You gotta check this out. It's called The Secret. I'm like, The Secret? There ain't no secrets. Ain't no secrets in the world. Whatever, man. Put it on, and we watch it, and it tapped into some things that I'd already known, but it was good to hear that there was other people that knew about this. And that it was becoming a thing, because between Eckhart Tolle and Oprah and now The Secret, I started to understand that there was an actual shift in consciousness that was happening, and I was witnessing it right then and there. And I started to feel good. I started to attract the things that I wanted in my life. You know, one thing after I burned through the depressive state of just like, you know what, I'm moving forward, I'm doing this. Let me bulk up my resume again, start putting it out there, and my writing skills off the hook. So, you know, I wrote this blurb about what I wanted, because in the laws of attraction with Esther and Jerry Hicks, they talk about, you know about what you don't want, but what about what you want? Focus on what you want. So I wrote this letter on Craigslist about what I wanted in a job, in a position, you know, with a company. How I wanted my freedom, how I wanted to help an organization really complete a project, you know, the work that I'd done previously in the .com industry with helping with the construction and renovation, you know, as a young buck in the facility management realm. You know, I talked about that, and I made it real short and neat. So I was working for a relocation company. I got this job as a temp working for this relocation company. It was in Orange County. And I get a call on my cell phone, and it's this guy. He's like, hey, is this Patrick? I was like, yeah. It's like, hey, this is, I forget his name. I believe his name is Richard. He's like, hey, I want to talk to you. I just finished reading your Craigslist post. You got a minute? I was like, actually, I got more than a minute. I'm getting on the train, heading back to Northridge. Actually, no, it was Canoga Park, because by then I'd moved to Canoga Park. And he's like, perfect. So by the time our conversation was done, we talked for about a whole hour, maybe an hour and a half. By the time I was off the phone, we had a great conversation. It's like we were, you know, brothers from another. He was an older cat, but he just was impressed by my experience and my knowledge and being able to articulate myself. And he said, look, I think you're the man for the job. I know you're the man for the job. He's like, if you can meet us on Monday, I have another partner of mine, and we just want to meet you and get you started. I think you're perfect for this, and we'll take it from there. I was like, perfect. So turns out it was a job working for AT&T, basically project management for all their hubs. So I had to drive to all the different hubs. They were retrofitting light fixtures, the ballast to change out because they was receiving funding from the government or something for rebates and whatnot. So my job was to basically manage these guys who were doing the installing. I didn't have to do any labor. I just had to report back, and they paid me. It was great. That was my come up. It was all good. That lasted for a minute. Start to build my credit back up. I still was driving this car that I bought from my homegirl, one of my homegirls I met while I was here in LA. It was like a $500 Datsun B210 or something that had the like the moon roof, because I get claustrophobic in cars if it doesn't have a moon roof or a convertible or something like that. So I was driving this car back and forth. I'd found this really awesome mechanic in Glendale. His name is Arthur. He's still around. Arthur is one of the coolest dudes I know, mechanics in Los Angeles, in Glendale. I brought the car to him. He checked it over. He's like, "Yo, this is a cool ride. It's good." He's like, just get the oil, make sure the oil changed. There's a little electrical problem. Whatever. He's like, but drive it as much as you can. So that car got me through this gig until the gig, they had to find a budget. Now, here's the thing. There was a what do you call it? What do you want to call it? A loss of jobs going on. It was what do you want to call, what do I want to call it? A recession. There was a recession and I had no idea about this recession. Before I go into what's next, and I'm going to go into the job that the call that I received after the project manager job with AT&T. I'm gonna start off from there because it gets interesting after that, and it's part of my whole origins and reset story, because I believe that there are people going through some things even right now. And if I can share just a little light on the situation for you to move forward, I'm going to use my podcast platform to do that, because it's like a radio show. I loved radio. Always, that's how I, got most of the music. That's how I became a musician too. I mean, I would listen to the music that I was listening to. I was like, I can create that. I can do that. I can do whatever I want. And, it's another story too, but that's going to be after whatever. I was on the radio. I was a DJ for a local radio station, pretty off the hook. But before I go into that, do I have something to promote again? Oh, yeah, I'll promote something. I'll promote a song you ain't never heard before, because I have never released it. I'm releasing it right now today on the Intelligent Human Voice Podcast Network. It's a song I created with my boy Zach. Me and Zach were living over at 2222 Figueroa, here in downtown LA. He was one of my roommates. Not roommate, I'm sorry. He had a loft as well, and I played the guitar. And I was like, "Yo, we got to do some music." And he came through, and we knocked it out. We knocked it out in a little of no time too, but I was still going through some stuff, so I wasn't happy about releasing it just yet. So I'm gonna release it right now. How about that? Only on the Intelligent Human Voice Podcast Network. This one is called Electric Fire.
Looking at
Okay, that was that was the that was Electric Fire. That song, that was Electric Fire, and yeah, that's me singing the lead and the vocals, and Zach did a little chime in here and there, and we knocked that out. We knocked that out pretty, and I was impressed by his guitar skills. He was ripping it. He was ripping it, and he got it. These are all first takes too. Everything we were doing was first takes. Everything I always do is first takes. And I was like, I go back to the old school way of recording. These guys, and there was no copy and paste. You know, you hit the record and it's on. You capture it and that's it. You know, come back, listen to it later, whatever. But you know, the greats will tell you there was no copy and pasting. You better get it right. You better rehearse it, or you better work it out in your mind and hit the record button, because you just never know what's going to come out. That was Electric Fire. I am going to release that. It hasn't been mastered. I hope it sounds good on your end. But there's some mastering. I'm such a critique against releasing stuff that hasn't been, that's the professional in me. What can I say? So, picking up, where were we? So I get the call. I get this call, and while I'm in limbo from the company, AT&T, the project management gig, I get this call from one of my homegirls who worked for I believe it was Manpower, and she was like, "Yo, just checking in with you and seeing if you're working, how the job is going, this, that, and the other." I said, "Well, it's just cool, you know. It's just kind of waiting around for these guys." She's like, "Oh, okay," because I'm calling because, you know, just trying to see if you know anybody else in facility management. We got this gig at this school, and it's a great school. It's in Hollywood. You know, the pay is good, and we're seeing if you knew anybody else, and, you know, they got your skill set." And I was like, "Well, you know, it sounds cool." I said, "But I don't know nothing about working at no school." I was like, "I don't know about working at a school." And she's like, "Oh, it's such nice people, and I think you'll be perfect for it, actually." She's like, let me set up the meet with the executive director, and you think you'll be able to get out there? I said, "Yeah, I'll meet up with them. I'll check it out. I'll you know, it's worth a shot. And, you know, I need work, you know, and I would love to continue working with these guys, but, you know, I don't think it's going to come through." And granted, remember, we're in the middle of a recession. I have no idea what's going on. Nothing. I had no idea there was a recession. I got a job in the middle of a recession. I meet with the executive director of this Jewish temple. It's huge, big campus, kids everywhere. Smack dab, she's not lying, it was smack dab in the middle of Hollywood. I'm like, wow. The director was really awesome, energy. Toby and I had I would say an informal style of interview. She had read my resume and was recommended by Manpower. She had just moved from the East Coast to LA as in this position. She was a facility manager at one point, and now she was in the executive director position. Married, new kid, everything, really awesome, and she could definitely use my help. And I was like, "Look, I'm totally open for this. This sounds awesome." Now, what's interesting is that before the call from Manpower, I had received a call from someone who had also, I did another blurb on Craigslist, and someone called me for a job at another Jewish synagogue. but it wasn't this Jewish synagogue. And you're going to like this story. This guy, we talk on the phone, and he's like, well, come on down. I want to talk to you and see what, see what we can, if we can help each other. He's like, because I've been the facility manager here for a while, and I'd love to talk to you and see what we can work out. So I meet up with this guy. If I can remember the name of the temple, I want to say Temple Isaiah. It was kind of in Beverly Hills. I didn't know the area at the time, but I want to say it was like mid Wilshire, Beverly Hills type. Not as big as Temple Israel of Hollywood, but I meet up with the guy. I go to the security gate. They let me in. Real tight security because it was a school. I didn't get that at the time, but I was like, oh, it's good. You guys are protecting the place. Kids, very important. And yeah, they were like, oh, okay, yeah. We know you're looking for. He's waiting for you. I get there way on time and ahead of time. And brother, well, I almost gave it away. The guy I was meeting up with, he walks down. He goes, Patrick? I go, yeah. He's like, oh. And we sit down in his office, and we just start laughing. And we were thinking the same thing. I said, dude, I have to tell you, I thought you was a white dude. He's like, I was thinking the exact same thing. He's over the phone. I thought you was a white dude, and this is funny. I was like, wow. So, what's the deal? You sounds like an awesome job. I mean, you're the facility manager. He's like, yeah, I've been here for a while. I'm also a minister, and great community, great people, and in between, people were popping in and talking to him, and the reason why I didn't. Okay, so yeah, we met. We did a walk through, and basically he would need someone in his position, but at night and on the weekends. And I was like, oh man, I was having flashbacks about a job I had working at night, that kind of those kind of hours, and especially on the weekends. I was like, oh, I don't know about that, but I'm open. I need a job. I need to work, so I'm open to the idea. But the pay wasn't what I wanted. Basically, it just wasn't what I wanted. I didn't think it was good at all. So after and then the interview. So when I interviewed with Toby, she was like, so just for the sake of asking, are you looking somewhere else? Have you interviewed anywhere? I said, ironically, I interviewed with another Jewish temple. She's like, really? I was like, yeah. And she's like, oh, okay. By the time I got home, I think I wasn't even out of the car. I got a call from Human Resources saying that they want to hire me, and when could I start? I was like, whoa, all right, cool, let's rock and roll. And I started, and it was great. It was great. It was basically me starting from scratch, because it was like a changing of the guards. There were a lot of folks who were retiring. They were starting this renovation, this major renovation and construction project that would last for another 8 years. I would start it. I would implement everything, emergency planning procedures. I would get the guys in uniforms. I would renovate certain areas. We were just going through a lot. It was a lot of transition. There was a lot of resistance too, because the guy that was in my position, he wasn't as in a technical position as a facility manager. Like, I would be bringing on board. He was more hands-on, fix it, quick type of things. And part of my challenge for the first year was undoing all the duct tape stuff and bringing the the temple into the 21st century. That was my goal, and I was committed to that to the end, and I stuck it out to the end. So flash forward all the in-between stuff, what transpired in between. By the time the project had ended, I was just wiped out. I wasn't taking any vacations. And for the record, anyone that's working and working really, really hard, this is what I want you to get out of this part. If you're working for an organization, it is, it's not something you want to play around with. And I'm talking to regards of your time off, your vacation time, your breaks. Take your breaks. Take your 15-minute breaks. Take your half an hour breaks. Take vacations. And just not to confuse the two, funerals and weddings are not vacations. Those are not vacations. And that's what I was doing. I was like, oh, buddy's getting married, homegirl's getting married. I'll just take this Thursday off and into the weekend and come back on Monday, because as a facility manager, man, you in the middle of a renovation, a multi-million-dollar renovation, you don't really have time to walk away for a little bit, because you come back, it's hell on earth, and you got to catch up. And I was just so committed to my gig, I wasn't vacationing. Like I said, weddings and funerals are not vacations. It's mourning and it's celebrating, but it's not relaxing and getting away and resetting and revamping I feel like those vacations and those breaks are put there for you to revamp and rethink and think about how, if there's something that's not going right on the job, this is your time to rethink some things, write some stuff out. Go talk to HR after the fact. Talk to HR before and talk to HR afterwards. I think I want to do a podcast on this subject altogether, because I learned so much over the years, and I think there's a lot of people in positions, in jobs, and what I want to encourage them to do is utilize that job. I mean, someone is paying you for your skill set. And if you're really great at it, they're going to pay you. They're going to give you raises. They care for you because you are running their organization. You're helping their organization, and you're getting free training. You're getting skills that you'll be able to have for a lifetime, that you'll be able to take either to the next job or next career, or starting your own business. You have those skills. When you're ready to start your own business, you should know how to do things because you've been doing it. You're now professionalizing for yourself. There's a lot of other steps in starting your own small business, and there are things that I can share with you as well in how to do that. So, didn't take vacations, built up 30 days of vacation time. 30 days. And I was going to take that in January of 2016. Actually, I couldn't do it because the director at the time, he was ready to take his vacation. He took a vacation to India. And I was like, all right, well, I got to take mine when you come back in February, which was like 28 days. I had 30 days. I'm like, oh, yeah, take Black History Month off, the shortest month of the year for my vacation. But by that time, I was so stressed out. I was having back issues. I was having head issues. My lungs were feeling, my vision was going out. I'm not kidding you about this stuff. I was diagnosed with keratoconus. I was diagnosed with asthma, For the first time in my life, my mom said I had asthma as a kid. I've been trying everything up until this point, meaning herbal remedies, and I believe there's a herb called ashwagandha. I was using essential oils. I started using essential oils. I was turned on to Dr. Sebi and his stuff. So I was trying everything, but I was building up to take a vacation, and I just hit a brick wall. I was like, I can't. I need some time off, and I need before I can take a vacation, I need to heal myself properly. Like I can't. What's a vacation if you're sick? You can't take a vacation if you're sick. If you're having vision problems, if you're having lung problems, these are serious things. So my whole thing is like, how do I take how the heck am I supposed to? So long story short, my doc put me on medical leave for a few months. At the end of those few months, I took a vacation to Tulum, Mexico. And those 7 days were the best 7 days of my life. Till this day, someone asked me recently, a friend of mine asked me, when was the last time you felt happiness? Go back to the time where you really felt happy about your life, about a situation, about a thing. And I couldn't think of anything at the time. And then, maybe a day later, I was like, oh, Tulum, Mexico. That's where I met God. That's where I felt God. I've always been in the God consciousness, the Christ consciousness, the openness to, in yoga and meditation. I keep messing that word up. Meditations. I'd gone through that, but I'd never been to Tulum before. And Tulum, I created a song just shy of last year, the end of last year, around November, about Tulum, and I put it together with a bunch of pictures from the trip and pieced it together and create a whole video. So I'm going to upload it. I'm actually going to upload it. I'll upload it today because with the bandwidth I have, and it's going to take 2 hours to upload. So I'll upload it and you'll be able to see some of the pictures. I didn't take my really nice camera. I had a really nice camera because I didn't know what to expect. I really didn't. So I took 2 of my smaller digital hand cameras, and I wish I had taken my bigger camera because when I got there, our suites were off the hook. It wasn't what we expected at all. We had showers. It was just an awesome place. And it was a yoga retreat. So from that, I made some really awesome yoga homegirls. Me and my boy went, and we had the time of our life. I didn't want to leave. If I knew what I was coming back to, what it was, I would have stayed. I would have gotten all the money that I had left and bought an island or started a yoga retreat in Tulum, Mexico. Because what transpired after that, after July 2016, was just downhill, spiraling, nonsensical, depressional, suicidal bull. You fill in the next word. And yeah, that's what happened. So flash forward to present day 3/9/2019. I am resetting my life because just prior of a week ago, I received some information from a family member that just opened Pandora's box on why I have been feeling all this depression and this anxiety and this stuff all my life. And I felt like it had come from since I was in the womb. And if you don't believe that you can feel things as a as you're being born into this world, and there are things that are happening outside that womb, outside of your mother's belly, that those things are not affecting you. If you believe that that can't happen or that hasn't happened to you, it probably has. I'm here to tell you that it probably has. If your parents were arguing, if she was physically abused, if she was mental abuse, if there was depression, if there was anxiety, if there was drinking, if there was bad dieting, that kid received that. I mean, where else? Think about this. Where else would the kid receive the nutrients and the vibrations? Where else would a child receive that? If you don't believe me, I have a link. Greg Braden talked about it too in on a Gaia episode. His book, Human by Design, highly recommended. Greg Braden's book for you to pick it up, called Human by Design. But there was a part where he showed I believe it's called a sonogram of a child in the fetus, in the womb of the pregnant mom, and the mom and the dad are arguing. They're arguing, and they're showing the sonogram of the baby, and the baby is jumping around every time. It's like just jumping around, and every time he hears the vibration of the voice of the father, and he's jumping around. And I'm like, that was me. That was me in the womb, jumping around, empathetic of my surroundings. So when I came out of the womb, I was conscious that something was off, something was wrong, something was very wrong. But like the Truman story, if you ever see the Truman Show, it's like it's a movie with Jim Carrey. There's things going around him and he doesn't realize it, that he's on a TV show. That's how I felt. I felt like there was this feeling that I had about what had transpired in the world, not just the world, but in my family, that I knew nothing about. And perhaps they were protecting me from, or they felt like they were protecting me to, reserve my feelings. But I'm here to tell you that it did not help. It hindered. It affected me in a way that it hindered my whole life. It hindered relationships. I felt like I couldn't give my all to any and every relationship that I was in. I feel like I had to become a different person in the world just to get through things. But that partying I was talking about earlier, that was my getaway. That's how I got away from things, because I would dance, and dancing was my power. Creating music was my power, is my way out. During the time I was working on this construction project with the temple, I had this vision, I had this dream that I was on stage with a top hat on, with a top hat and a tuxedo, and I'm looking off into the audience and I'm singing and I'm performing, but I can't see people in the audience. I can't see faces. I can't see anything, but I'm performing. I'm doing my thing, and I'm like, yo, and people stand up and they're cheering and the whole nine. I had that vision like maybe 10, 20 years ago. And that's kind of what I feel gravitated me towards LA, because I was like, I can work and still create music on the side. I can do that. I can make my way into the music industry and whatnot. But during the time I was the therapy, and because I wasn't taking vacations or really taking time out for me, my therapy was my music. I had purchased this really awesome piece of equipment prior to getting the job at the Temple. I went to the Guitar Center. I'll never forget it. It was a Guitar Center, I think, in Northridge. And I just walked in there because, the laws of attraction say, what do you want? What do you want? So I walked into Guitar Center. I hadn't been there in a while, and there was this Korg M3, beautiful, beautiful, 88 weighted keys. And I'm like, what is that? And I remember talking to the sales clerk, and he was like, oh, let me show you. He turns it on. He's like, this is the Korg M3. It does this, it does that, and it's all touchscreen. He showed me a few things on how to create a song real quick. I was messing with this thing like right out the back, just creating songs, and I was like, this is crazy. I have to have this. And I think at the time it just come out, so it was like $4,000, and I was like, dang, $4,000. I said, you know what? He said, but here's the thing, you can put it on layaway. I was like, Guitar Center has a layaway? And he's like, yeah, they don't really push it, they don't really promote it, but yeah, Guitar Center has layaway. I was like, okay, done. How much do I have to put down? He's like, whatever you want, 20%, whatever. I think I put down $200, and when I got the job at the Temple, I think probably the first, I was there maybe a couple months before I moved out of, I know I gotten it afterwards. I think I got it after I moved. Yeah, because I ended up moving out of Canoga Park because it was one hell of a drive from Hollywood to Canoga Park. One of the directors was saying that she lived out that way, and she had been driving 14 years back and forth. I was like, not me, not doing it, not making that drive every day, not gonna happen. So I found a place, a house. Again, I wrote a blurb on Craigslist about what I wanted. Now we're talking about laws of attraction here. I was applying the laws to attraction to what I wanted. And I got what I wanted. I got it. It was a house in Mid-City, Culver City. This lady had responded to my Craigslist ad, and really sweet, awesome lady. She said, I think I got what you need. I think check this out. And she showed me the pictures. She's like, me and my husband, we lived in the front house. He passed, and we built this house, and we want to rent it. We just, finished work, and we still got a little work to do, but check it out. I look, I was like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. This is exactly what I need. A 2-bedroom house. It's a house in the back of the house. There's some dogs on the side, but she's like, oh, the dogs only bark once they don't know you. Once they know you, they're good. I was like, all right, this is perfect. I forget what the rent was. The rent was like maybe $1,400. I thought that was a bit much, but for a 2-bedroom house in Culver City, Mid-City, with my own parking and garage, and sold, done. I didn't feel I was making the money I need to really be making on my job. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna create my music. I'm gonna get my music out there. I'm gonna start my own podcast show. I was talking about podcasting back then. This was like early 2008, 2009. And I said, build my studio, and this is what's going to happen. It's going to rock and roll. So music became my therapy. No matter what was going on in my world, at my job, in my life, my family life, business, girlfriends, the whole nine, doesn't matter. When I walked off that job, I did my job to the T. I had a night crew, I had a day crew. We had a great communication. The thing I said to these guys in the very beginning, all Latino crew, I said, look, I'm not here to fire nobody. I'm not here to be that guy. I was like, you guys know this place more than I do. I said, we're here to work together. We're here to work to satisfy the executive director, to have her back. So if I got her back, I want you guys to have my back. If you got my back, I got your back. and you'll have a job. So as long as I'm here, you'll have a job. And if my door is always open. If you got things in your life that you need to talk to, you need to get off your chest, just come through. I'll talk to you about it, and we can work it out together. I said, but communication is key with me. That's how I rock. That's how I've always rocked, and I'm a pro when it comes to this. And for 8 straight years, possibly 10 years, I think I was there about 10 years, had no problems out of any of my guys. They became my family. The organization became my family. I bought them lunch often because I felt like they weren't getting paid what they needed to get paid. But, you know, they would go above and beyond the call of duty just to satisfy me, just to satisfy their job, because I didn't give them slack. We had conversations every week. We had conversations every day, both personal and professional, because I cared about these guys. They had my back. So I wanted to make sure everybody was cool. So I'm saying this because it allowed me to, you know, at 5 o'clock, 4:30, I was out. I was out of there in my car, home, comfortable enough to know that my phone was going to ring for some emergency that was going to happen. And I would have to get in my car and drive back because I was like, that's not happening. You know, 8 hours, done. I do more than most people do all day in 2 hours than most people do all day. So I'm not coming back. That was my thing. I put that out there. And so I would come home and I would just create. I would tie into the God consciousness and say, universe, what do we want to create today? And the universe would plug into the crown chakras, and I would just, you know, it just flowed through my fingers. Now, here's the other thing. I taught myself piano. I took piano classes. I taught myself piano since I was a kid. But this was the first time of me playing on a weighted keys, weighted piano. And this was like a whole workstation, all kind of instruments. It's a beast. If you look up the Korg M3, read the specs on it. There's a few guys. My boy Mark, he owns one on Facebook. What's up, Mark? He owns one. It's a beast. It had taken me 10 years just to figure out a lot of the features, but it was how it was my therapy. And I was creating songs. I was creating soundtracks for my life. So to date, I have over 500, 600 songs. And they're in storage. I have to pay for my storage and make sure my storage isn't sold to someone. That's not cool. But that was my therapy. So the songs that you've heard, Cannabis Jazz, was part of my therapy. Music that I was creating while I was going through what I was going through. You know, depression on the job, depression in life, anxieties, stress, vision issues, lung issues. And on top of that, as if I needed any more problems in my life, the building in which I was living, 2222 Figueroa, in which I moved out of just shy of 2-3 months ago, was having some serious building issues with mold, with the place raining. It was raining indoors. They weren't addressing the issues. There were security issues with the call box. This is all under litigation. It's under, my lawyer is looking into it right now. But on top of everything else I just mentioned, I had to go through that. I'm skipping around. I end up moving out of the place in Mid-City, 2-bedroom house. I end up breaking up with my girlfriend for no reason. No reason. It was the stress that I was dealing with in life, period. And I couldn't give her, I just couldn't give her what she wanted. You know, she was madly in love with me. I won't say I was madly in love with her, but I really, really liked her. At the time when I said on my podcast in episode 42, I read my Facebook post about receiving and giving the words, I love you. When I say that, I mean that, because I've had women confess over time how much they were in love with me, how I'm easy to love, and I didn't feel like I had it to return. I was, of course, being the person I am, just a nice dude, a cool dude, straightforward, not the kind of person to cheat. Love women, love looking at women, but I'm not cheating. I'm not bringing anything home because I don't have time for that. Who has time? Who has time to be a player and a pimp? Who has time to be a womanizing person? That stuff takes energy and lies on top of lies. I've never had time for any of that. Plus, if you have a job like a career like mine, and as a facility manager, you have to know a lot, and you have to understand a lot, and you have to communicate a lot. So you add that on top of, multiple relationships with women. Can't happen. Can't have both. And you barely have a relationship in a job like that. So I say that to say that I've broken up women. I've broken up with a lot of women in my life over time because I couldn't give them the love that I felt like, because I didn't know it. I didn't feel it. I didn't know it. I knew there was something else that was just bothering me, and I couldn't put my finger on it. Now I'm good. I'm 100%. I can say I love you all day, and I mean it. Trust me. If I say it, I mean it. I would always say, and here's the other thing about the music. I've gone into an hour and 23 minutes, but I'm on the roll because it feels good. This is therapy for me, and I hope it's therapy for you. I'd hit writer's block, and I remember talking to one of my buddies, and he was saying, I was saying, yeah, man, I'm depressed. He's like, what do you have to be depressed about? Good looking guy, got a job, got, a nice car, this, that, and the other. He said, what is it? I was like, you have no idea. You should never say that. So I say that to say, our friends are our friends for reasons. They're going through things on their own, and they'll offer up advice and stuff, but they are not the people to get you out of your depressive states or your anxiety states or whatever it is. And God bless them all. God bless you, for you all who may be listening later or sooner or even right now, in trying to help yourself. And thought I heard somebody coming to the door. Hold on a sec. Nobody coming to the door. It's just the wind blowing. I gotta get on my bicycle. I got to ride today. The friends, they're there for reasons, but not to, just unload. They're not there to unload. So I say that to say, I have tons of self-help books. One book I'm looking at right now, Getting into the Vortex, Esther and Jerry Hicks, The Teaching of Abraham's Guided Meditations. Oh, I keep messing. I got to look into that. Guided Meditations and User's Guide. Awesome. I love Abraham Hicks. I was actually turned on to Abraham Hicks just shy of 3 years ago. It's another book I have a lot of books, by the way. De-stress, energize, awaken through Chan meditation. I'm going to read the back blurb of this because it is an awesome book. I remember recommending it to someone on Facebook who was asking, what is it that I do to get through life? And I said, this book is really helping me out. Let me read it for you. For thousands of years in China, Chan meditation has enabled us to be relieved from illnesses in our body, delusions in our mind, and fear in our heart. Not only it transforms us to live a better life, awakens our spirit, it enables us to witness the truth of the universe, the same truth sought by sages, scientists, scholars, and philosophers. That's Chan master teacher Waju Mia Xian, 58th patriarch of Chan. And the other blurb is, for 2,500 years, traditional Chinese medicine is rooted in the same principles as Chan meditation. It is an effective as my practice in acupuncture. Chan meditation offers the most effective way to de-stress and rejuvenate ourselves, similar to energy medicine or integrative medicine. That is Denise Hoang, L.AC MSOSM. She's on the she's a board certified acupuncturist and clinical herbalist. Chan meditation, I don't know. Chan meditation reveals an extraordinarily unique way of practicing meditations. Our previous study on EEG, that's electroencephalograph, was revealed some very exclusive characteristics of Chan enlightened brain. I've returned back to this book because it works, and it was working at a time, and I put it away. And what I say about meditating is you have to be consistent with it. You have to embrace it. You have to be open with it, and you have to follow it. You have to continue it. You have to do it. You have to be it, because it works. It helps. It gets rid of all that chatter, what they talk about, the monkey mind. And this book is broken down into 15 steps. It says, practice earnestly the 15 steps in this book, and it will transform and benefit you for the rest of your life. One other book I want to endorse, Greg Braden. I love Greg Braden. He is so on point. If you don't know him, it's spelled Greggbraden. He's New York Times best-selling author of The Divine Matrix and Resilience from the Heart. This is Human by Design, from Evolution by Chance to Transformation by Choice. Read a blurb about this book here. Who are we? And remember earlier, it was Understanding Your Potential with Miles Monroe. It was like why we were born. See how this circle is happening. See how this is going. A growing body of evidence suggests that we are the product of something more than random mutations and lucky biology. But the evidence can only go so far. Fossils, DNA, ancient cave art, and human burial sites can only show us the remnants of what happened in the past. They cannot tell us why those things happen unless we find a way to travel backward in time. The truth is that we may never know the complete why of what has made our existence possible. But maybe we don't need to know. The undeniable fact is that modern humans appeared on the earth 200,000 years ago, and that something happened to make our existence possible. And whatever that something was, it left us with the extraordinary abilities of intuition, compassion, empathy, love, self-healing, and more. We owe it to ourselves to embrace the body of evidence, the story it tells, and the healing it can bring to our lives. For the first time in the 300-year-long history of science, we're writing a new human story that gives us a new answer to the timeless question of who we are. From Human by Design, that's Greg Braden. I highly recommend this book. I've been reading it for the past, I started about maybe 3 months ago, and I was like, whoa, I should have been reading this book. Are you kidding me? So those are the 3 books I'm recommending today for you to get started on your life, revamping, de-stressing, getting all the cobwebs of nonsense out of your life, and starting something new and fresh. I hope you, my friends, are listening to this. You can listen to it again. You can download it. You can get this information. I'm going to check into my Facebook real quick and see who's chimed in. Let's see here. Here we go. The homie from way back when. Wait, who is this? Is this who I think it is? No. Oh, this is a mutual friend. I think I know Charles. This is Charles Christopher. He chimed in. Yeah, something, a sewaging suffering, such a bad thing to do. You think you're the moral one here, but you're just a small, splattery, fecal explosion. Take your basic bullshit into a class and learn something before spewing simplistic nonsense. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Charles, for that. Yeah. I think that's a positive thing. I think that's a positive thing. Yeah, because I had posted what are we responding to? Yeah. Imagine. Oh, this is what happened. Billy Zuka. What did he place? Imagine being a billionaire and doing billionaire things and never once thinking, today I will pay off 500 people's medical GoFundMes with my pocket change because I can. This other guy says, it has literally occurred to me. So I responded that I wouldn't, and I just buy the smartest people on the planet and create stuff we could use to sustain the planet, heal the planet, and heal ourselves. I was like, freak Band-Aid treatments. And this Charles Christopher guy responded, yeah, sewaging suffering, so such a bad thing to do. You think you're the moral one here, but you're just a small, splattery, fecal explosion. Take your basic bitch bullshit into a class and learn something before spewing simplistic. Oh, so he's talking to me. This is what I'm talking about, people. This is what I'm talking about. People talk and they say stuff. They have no idea. I guess that's attack on me. I'm going to respond to him and go, thank you. Let me say thank you. Thank you, Charles. Didn't know I was spewing bullshit. Thank you, Charles. Didn't think I was spewing bull. But I'll take your advice. I will take that advice. And I'll see you. And let's have coffee. That's what I'm going to say. Let's have coffee. This is funny. We'll talk about it. Face to face. Man to man. The floor is open. I don't normally respond or post on people's stuff, but I think in the middle of the night, probably 8 hours ago, I said something to that because it said something about $1 billion. And I'm thinking, yeah, if I had $1 billion, I would take that money and I would build a school. I would build a Charles Xavier style school or something like that. And all the kids who feel like they want to learn something different outside of what society is teaching them, they could come to my school and learn that. I wouldn't go to help people who don't want to help themselves or who are building GoFundMes to help their ailments. I wouldn't do it. And that's just me. I just wouldn't do it. That's how I would spend my billions. I would spend my billions helping people, helping children. I would help children. I wouldn't help adults. I'm just being real with that. I would help children. I think there's a lot of adults who are going through things and they don't really, this is part of why I'm doing this podcast, because there are some adults that are going to listen to this. They're going to get something from it. But I think what I have to offer is for the children. They are suffering from stuff that we should have taken care of 20, 30, 200 years ago. If we really want to go back, there's stuff that should have been taken care of a long time ago. And I have no answers for why they haven't. I can only take care of myself. I can only say what I say. And, I'm going to let Brother Charles here know, like, look, brother, I don't know who you're talking, who that is, who that's directed to. But if you actually want to sit down and have a conversation about that, we can talk about that. We're all adults out here. And if he's directing that to me, saying that take my basic bitch bullshit into a class and learn something before I spew something, let's talk about that, brother. You have opened up Pandora's box on something you have no idea what you're talking about. So that's why we do podcasts here, people. That's why we do podcasts, and that's why people are not on Facebook. I know a few people who feel like when they get on Facebook, they just these energies are messing with them. People are quick to say stuff like that, and you don't know the whole picture. You don't know where I'm coming from. I feel like it's an attack on what I had to say. And if that's what I want to do, that's what I want to do. Maybe you want to do something. Everybody can't do the same thing, so that's my thing. That's my voice, and I'm voicing it on the podcast. And if you want to hear it on the podcast, you can do that. If you want to be on the podcast and talk about what you just said or what you feel like you want to do with your billions, the floor is open, brother. The floor is open for any and everybody. All right. Peace, love, and soul, people. I love it. It's been a great Saturday. The sun is out. I'm gonna get out and get a ride, get some sun, get some earth, and just get out there and get some life, because life isn't about being on social media responding to people's things. Let me read a little bit more on this guy. I have to. Okay, he's a musician. All right, great. And he's asking for donations for Parkinson's Association in honor of his dad. And she has Parkinson's. Okay, so I see where he's coming from. I see where his energies are coming from, but you don't see where mine is coming from. That's why, yeah, let's talk about it, brother. But I'm still standing my ground on what I would do with my billions, because that's what I would do. I'm here to help the children, and however way I would do it, that's how I'm going to do it. And that's my word on that. But if you want to, if he wants to talk about it and he wants to do a fundraiser to raise money for Parkinson's, yo, I'm totally down for that, brother. That sounds awesome. I don't know anyone in my circle who are suffering from such a crazy disease. It is a crazy disease. I have people in my family suffering from, dementia and diabetes and all kind of stuff. We're all going through something, but it doesn't start by you spewing out comments on Facebook about what's bullshit and what's not. If we're all here trying to help each other, that's not the way to do it, people. That's not the way to do it. So I get where Charles is coming from, and God bless you. I hope you get all the money that you need, and if we can help you raise some money for Parkinson's Association of the Rockies, hey, let's help Charles out. Let's help him out. Let's help his family out. That's how we do it on planet Earth. That's how we do it. All right. This has been beautiful. This has been revealing. This has been awesome. I thank you for listening. I got more stuff I want to talk about later, different subjects. If you got something you want to talk about and it's positive and it's good, let's rock and roll. Peace, love, and soul.